Okay, let's jump back into Ninja Shadow of Darkness. We're going for level 4 this time, the Monastery interior. As I was saying last time, it follows a fairly similar pattern to the previous level. It's a straight run to the goal, but blocked off with a series of key gates. And you have little tasks off to one side that will net you the keys. I think this is one of my favourite levels. It's also one of the last levels that I used to play, because the later levels started to scare me too much in terms of difficulty. They're not really horror games. Not doing a good job of getting that secret. Oh god. There we go. Well, hopefully we got all the secrets from that corner. If not, no biggie. It's kind of a pattern in Ninja that lamps and lanterns and lights and all those things are very often secret locations. The next level has the same. The last level, the lanterns were also secrets. Apparently it's a thing with Katasaki's Japan that there's just like no safety whatsoever in the buildings. For some reason there are just giant gaps and people buried underneath. I don't know how long this monastery's been standing here, whether this happened before Katasaki took over. Probably not a mystery that's worth investigating. I think one of these chests is a healing item again. In the last level I left a chest with a healing item and forgot to go back for it. Let's see me do exactly the same here. So here are these ghosts from the second level again. They make at least one more appearance later in the game. And they always drop a lot of coins. But the penalty is obviously taking tick damage from them. Also, following the light theme, there's a bunch of secrets and mechanics. The music's very dramatic in this level as well. I quite like the soundtrack to Ninja. I suppose it's not really something that you would put on repeat and just listen to all the time, but I think it does a nice job of creating an atmosphere. Some of the tracks are repetitive. The next world reuses the music themes a couple of times. That was, well, I don't think there are words that can sum up how feeble that attempt was. But yeah, I quite like the main boss theme as well. You got this nice little view outside. I mean, it's obviously, you know, it's not an amazing graphical achievement, but I always quite like levels where you can see outside. It just, for me at least, it just creates that sense of a wider world. And I suppose in some ways, when it's low budget, it kind of reminds me of little sort of theme park rides, where they're creating the impression of space, even when they're in kind of cramped areas. I think the structure of this level is something I quite like. There's something very kind of satisfying for me with completing a level or completing a little task and then moving on to the next little task. It's this good sense of progression. A much needed healing item. This is in fact one of the levels that tends to whittle me down quite quickly. Or actually not quickly, it whittles me down slowly, but by the end of the level, whoops, I usually find myself kind of struggling for health a bit. I quite like polearms as weapons, partly because I like the look, partly because I usually like the range that they give you. I don't think this game has much distinction in terms of weapon range. I mean, when you have a weapon, you definitely have slightly more range than when you're just punching, but beyond that, I don't think there's much of a benefit to having a polearm over the sword. There's not a noticeable difference, at least. I'm sure if someone was to properly look into the game, they'd immediately be able to correct me. But for now, I'm going to pretend I know what I'm talking about. I'm always expecting an ambush in that little area heading into the side challenges. Oops. So yeah, I don't know if these guys have different health values compared to the previous level, but you can see they go down in 2 hits rather than 4. I find the axe tends to... it feels like it's doing a lot of damage. But I think it's a bit less than the ultimate sword. can't remember if it turns up at the shop for purchase. I guess potentially if it did, you'd be able to gauge from its price. The ultimate sword is always 1,000. You can see it's got the classic thing that they do in these fighting games like Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, is they'll roll out the same enemies but with slightly different colour schemes. But I think there's still quite a nice range of enemies. So here it's not about fighting enemies but about fighting this weird little plinth thing. This is a great place to get murdered prematurely. Once you've damaged it enough, it will speed up. So you just have to be really careful, and it will damage you for quite a lot. Oops, yeah. Someday, I will do this without taking damage. And of course, once you take the key, everyone pops in to have a crack. And I got a healing item. Yes, I'm going to mention it every single time it happens, because it always comes as a surprise. And yeah, you might have seen some of those demon-y guys in the yellow shirts. They, rather than like having a full recolor, it's like the shading's been slightly altered on them. There's the same with the samurais, you might have noticed. Wait, I left these ones because they're a bit close to the exploding balls that the plinth fires out. Oops. I always get lulled into a sense of complacency. So here they mix up the little ghost sequence by throwing in some of the zombies on top of them. I could just use a smoke bomb here, but I'm stubborn, so I won't. But yeah, my health's taken a bit of a hit. Probably would have been more sensible. I do have a habit of getting to this part with just a very tiny sliver of health left. Nearly did it again. But fingers crossed, I'll make it through this time. Sometimes I like to sneak off and try and open the chests, but I think I have enough health to take a few hits, so this time I'll kill everything first. But I think if they're not random, the healing item usually turns up on the other side. So we got these weird little dragon heads. They're surprisingly damaging. I think if you jump into that thing on the wall, you'll still take damage. So my advice, which surprisingly you'll find my advice is not to jump into it. I don't know quite where that sentence was going. This is one of those areas where the developers like to punish you for not double checking where you're going. You'll see there's a little ramp you can go down in the middle there, but it's not like this one. You can't change where you're moving. You'll just slide down to get the key and then get spiked. So, do you need my advice here? Just don't go down there. At least not yet. So I think, yeah, the dragon needs to be activated first. And then we've got the switch here to get rid of the spikes. Try and get the middle. And jump, because I don't think it speeds you up. But I do it anyway. So it's about this point I start to worry about my health bar. I've not seen any heals for a while. If I accidentally run into one of those golden dragon machine statue things, then that health will get into a dangerously low state. So I think that poison bottle was healing item last time I played this level. Or was it this side? That is not healing either. Okay. So, I think the game now hates me. We'll be fine. So I was talking about points and how you get like a lot more in the later levels. Again, another fairly obvious observation. But here we've done the majority of the first 4 levels of the game. And we're up at 1,263,000 points. I think you basically get that from like one level, maybe half a level in the latter part of the game. Because last time I was playing, I really fumbled the penultimate level, so I had to use a continue, which was very upsetting. But I still managed to roll straight back up to 1,000,000 points. Alright, so that bit in the middle is the end of the level, but we're not quite ready to finish yet. I think this one's always a weapon, yeah. You really just want to get up those steps as fast as possible, because as you saw, there's spikes there, and the ramp will just send you straight back into the spikes if you take too long. Okay, I'm really hoping for a healing item from here. That is not a healing item, that is a scroll. But at least we have points. So there's a minor puzzle in here. You just have to shoot the windows a few times. And once you've done all 4 of the windows, you can go back to that pit, and that will end the level. But first we have to kill just endless people and demon guys. Again, I'm not really sure. They support us, they mind controls. Does anyone care? See, another poison item. That's like 3 in a small space of time. One of them was an exploding chest. Oh, there we go. But yeah, the green exploding chests will not only damage you, but they'll also stop you attacking for a little bit. So, surprisingly enough, try not to stand in it. Now that we've healed up from that rice meal thing, whatever it was, I think we can relax a fair bit more. There is a boss coming up. I don't think it's as easy to kind of mess up his turning as with the final boss. But we can still give it a go. We're at full power unless I muck up. And I have an ultimate sword. Oh, I should probably mention as well. So the big villain of the game is the Demon Lord Batanaka. I can't pronounce it. In the opening cinematic, he's kind of got this skull-like face. It's kind of coppery colour, but as we'll see, he didn't really look like that with the in-game graphics. 2% missed. Well, I'm just going to have to redo the entire level. This CG image does not represent what the level looks like entirely. So here we are in Hell, that's what this level's called. And here's the Demon Lord Batanaka. Now he doesn't really look like he does in the CG video. He's got these kind of Twi'lek tentacle things coming out of his head. When I first saw this, I assumed this guy was like a servant of Batanaka. But no, he's the actual big bad guy. I think this guy also features in the opening cinematic. It's up on YouTube at the moment. I didn't bother to record it for this series because there's talking in it. There's not much point in me doing that and talking over the narrator. This is another one of those bosses who likes to just knock you on the floor when you get close. I don't really like that foot stomp either. Full power daggers do a fairly decent amount of damage. Okay, so I think he does this big attack here. I might as well just wail on him with the ultimate sword. It takes a long time to recover from that attack. Bad strategy, my friend. And I guess that's Batnaka's base in the middle there. So I don't really know what goes on here. You finish the monastery, you get teleported to Hell, and then I don't know. Does Batnaka just kind of say, "Well, you won. You can go back to the normal world." So here we are in the trans-dimensional shop. Might as well buy some food. Don't need anything else. And yeah, after finishing the monastery, you just end up first in Hell, then in some mines. I'm not too sure how we got to the mines. Were the mines under the monastery? Who knows? Well, so that's the first third of the game. Some of the latter levels do get quite long, so probably not actually a third of the game. But we'll stop there for now, and see you next time.